What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we are looking at IEM Sydney 2023. And look, these season games continue to be big disappointments. NA not going well, EU not going well. Of course, I am taking big risks now. Going, for example, with EG here and going with OG here. They didn't pay off. Also, ENS didn't even do that well. Like, even if I went for quote good lineups, I would probably not do well. Where I do continue to do quite well is these non-partner events. Donk absolutely carrying me alongside Chopper. These three, not so much, but I mean, not the worst. But you know, in these things where like in the partner games, I would take this every time, and in these games, I will just not be happy with this. But what can you do? Except move on to the next one, and the next one is the Sydney event, first CS2 event. So I'll just kind of quickly go over some of my thoughts about this event and kind of setting up what I think the main things to consider are. So thing number one, it's CS2, so a lot of teams probably haven't played much CS2, if at all, really. Like, of course, like some games they must have just to prepare for this event. But it's a very different game still, I would say, CS2 from CSGO, which means there very well could be upsets. Another thing, it's best of one's first round in MR12, so that makes upsets even more likely. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if teams like, I don't know, Monty and Complexity beat Cheat 2, and even I wouldn't be that surprised if someone like Lin Vision beat ENS. It's a best of one MR12 in CS2. Like, and you really hold it against ENS if they lose it. If I was a gambling man, for example, I would probably throw some money, honestly, on some of these underdogs if the odds seem right for that. One more thing, the way this goes, because it's like in Sydney, so for me, for example, I'm not gonna wake up on 5:30 on a Monday to watch some CSGO event in Sydney. And honestly, I'm probably not even gonna wake up until 8:30 a lot of the time. What does this mean? Well, I'm probably not gonna pick any of these four teams because of the way HLTV Fantasy is structured, which is a big problem in my opinion. I think you should be able to put or assign boosters for matches in advance. I don't understand why that's not possible. It used to be, I think, possible to like preliminarily apply boosters, and they took away that feature probably because brackets get quite complicated. That made coding that more difficult. Like, honestly, I can't bring myself to pick Navi, Apex, Mouse, and Vertex just to possibly not wake up before 8:30 and getting on my phone and throwing boosters on. So I'm just gonna ignore them. Also because the upset potential is way higher. This is not the problem on the other side of the bracket, at least. So like these, I don't care about the first match, and these second matches, like there's at least another day in between. It's just these four teams where they can. It also feels pretty bad for a team that, for example, flies to Sydney. Let's say Apex or Navi lose their first game here, and then they lose here, and then they're eliminated. Like, that would be pretty awful. Vertex, even if they are not flown in here, like, you're only playing for maybe 3 maps of MR12 CS2 and you're gonna lose. But that's just a whole nother thing. Let's get into the fantasy aspect of it. So then I do have to pick one of these teams, and to me, actually, I wouldn't go for Vitality because of the upset potential. I wouldn't pay this kind of money for pretty much anyone, because I think the scores are probably gonna be more even. There are some exceptions for who I would like to kind of splash on, and that's players who I think have practiced this game more. So for example, from FaZe, we know that Drops is someone who has probably played a good amount of CS2. Also, Twist has said that CS2 was kind of on his mind a lot during the last event already. I also think someone like Brokey is a decent pick at this price point, because he's AWPing. But that's also another question you might want to get into. Is AWPing a lot harder in CS2? And maybe it is, and then maybe you just ignore AWPers altogether. go Robs and Twists. That's kind of where I'm standing. You could also go Carrigan because I think scores are going to be more even across the board. Then, I mean, honestly, it's always going to be for me Robs and someone else from FaZe. And then I don't want to pick any from these, so I have to pick one filler player from these, and then 2 players from the other side. There's teams that I've been thinking about here. One of them is Cloud9. I think there's upset potential for sure. It's not that much of an upset even. I think there's just great individuals there, even though they haven't really clicked. But who knows? Maybe CS2 is when they do. G2 is an option for me also. And that's mainly because I think m0NESY is the kind of player who's probably gonna actually do quite well in CS2. Just because like these younger players are better at adapting, and also m0NESY has played a decent amount of it. We've seen him find bugs and such, so he's actually invested a lot of time into CS2. Sorry, I'm talking quite fast and expressively, so my throat is almost hurting a bit. But if we, for example, go for m0NESY, Twists, Robs, I don't think that's quite possible, even with HooXi. Like, I don't want to pick any of the super filler players, I don't think. Like, honestly, this and like a Dexter... Whoa. Definitely opened something up there, but like something like this might very well be quite good. Fnatic, even if they lose, get to play against like a Lin Vision. I'm not convinced that someone like Dexter doesn't do well in CS2. I don't see why he couldn't do well, let's put it that way. I wouldn't go bet Boom just because of the fact that even if they win against Vitality, they're gonna play against FaZe here. I wouldn't probably go for any of these Australian teams unless I find it that I need the money. But if I have money for this, I don't think that's ever gonna be an issue. So this is like the first draft version of this, where you go main op and a lot of money onto FaZe, and then just Dexter as a filler option. I think that's a very decent option. Another one is that you go instead of Twists, you go Carrigan. And now we have a lot of more money, 203 grand to be exact, and there's like more options, let's say. So still ends Cloud9, for example. I think Electronic was the first player I was thinking of here. So this could also work, especially because Electronic is no longer the IGL for Cloud9, so maybe he does go back to fragging quite well. These are the kinds of drafts I'm kind of thinking of the most. The one I ended up, or I feel like I'm gonna end up going for, is this. Just going for the Dexter lineup. It's quite safe, to be honest. Except for the FaZe gamble, which is enough of a gamble for me. It's not very picked except for Robs. A lot of people going with Mouse, which I already said why I don't pick Mouse. I would maybe think about it more, but honestly, I'm not gonna even think about them if I sometimes don't even get the boosters applied. But yeah, this is kind of the lineup I want to go for. m0NESY main op. IGL on HooXi. Then it's a matter of what do I throw here. Like headshots, of course. So we know Twist is known for his headshots. Dexter also has decent headshots, but also eco-friendly. Actually, the same percentages. Quite funny. I wouldn't go noob on anyone here, just because who knows what's gonna happen in some best of ones. Eco-friendly. Maybe there's not as many eco. So kills per round. So like even one shotgun kills does it, but like I think something like Headshot Machine is just more safe. There's good reason. There's like a good enough probability of that backfiring the eco fragger. It's a matter of what do I do here. City rating seems like a decent one, honestly, on Twists. What about Robs? You would have also liked that, but multi-fragger is also really good on him. Yeah. It's multifragger. I would say feeling 22. I don't know if there's going to be a better chance for it. KSD. Let's go with Monesi. Sure, I wouldn't use it first round. We have one headshot player. Cloud9. Do they have headshot heavy players? This is like the easiest way to check it. Not really. They have really non-headshot heavy players. Even though someone like Twist has a higher percentage for it, I'm gonna just hope for the roll and booster to trigger on Dexter here. Let's go carry. I mean, carry, okay, it's already been adjusted. I didn't actually realize this. Okay, let's go over just a bit. I mean, best pistol round, whatever. That's interesting. They haven't... I didn't see anywhere that this would be a thing. Because, of course, look, MR12, it's... Things have to be adjusted. But yeah, let's go and say carry drops then. 20 or more kills in CS2. It's a tough ask still, I think, but it's possible, of course. And then twists. I mean, quad kill honestly would... I think there's just too many boosters to throw on Monesi that are good. So, ooh, this is pretty good, but maybe for later. Okay, let's say quad kill on twists. And that is the lineup. I mean, very quick video, but honestly, there's not that much to think about here. I just think it's a very random event. And the start of CS2 is going to be very random. Let's see what happens. I'm still like looking for those top 3 placements. And I think this has a decent chance at least of it. I think my reasoning behind picking players like Robs, Twists, and Monesi are pretty good. So let's see what happens. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.